Sometimes it feels like flagship smartphone prices just won't stop increasing. The early iPhones, for example, are about a third of the cost of what they go for today, even after adjusting for inflation. With talks of a looming recession and student loan debt cancellation still up in the air, that $1,500 or $1,600 Motorola Razr, Galaxy Flip, or maxed out iPhone 14 Pro Max might not be on the Christmas list this year. But Santa still gotta put gifts under the tree. No matter who you're shopping for or what the occasion is, there are plenty of viable smartphone options that come in under $1,000. Let's look at the best phone under $1,000 on both sides of the smartphone aisle: Android versus iOS. The brand new Pixel 7 Pro versus last year's iPhone 13 Pro from Apple. There's a lot of overlap in their target consumer, but who does it better? I'm Anthony from US Mobile. If you're new, welcome, and if you're returning, thanks for coming back. Today we're gonna look at the best phone under $1,000 from Android versus iOS. Let's do it. There are two juggernaut operating systems in the American smartphone market: Android and iOS, developed by Google and Apple respectively. Well, really, Android was started in 2003 and later acquired by Google in 2005. But at this point, we equate Android with Google as they expanded the software as an open source OS to power thousands of devices. So yeah, you don't need to use the Pixel 7 Pro to get Android. I'm using it as an example in this video because it's brand spanking new and it's a crowd favorite among Android purists. These purists love the Pixel lineup because it comes straight from the source, directly from Google, whereas other manufacturers may put layers of software that can either enhance or reduce the experience for you. Apple's iOS is tied to the iPhone and the Apple ecosystem of devices and software. It's a highly optimized operating system that gets major updates annually. You might be wondering why I chose to highlight the 13 Pro instead of the newly launched iPhone 14, which also comes in under $1,000. In my opinion, the 13 Pro touts a much better build quality, a more flexible camera rig, and it gives you the option to use a SIM card if you so please. If you're solely concerned with the software and you really just want to say you got the newest thing that's out, feel free to try the iPhone 14. But I'm telling you, that 13 Pro has a lot of perks. Let's start with feel in hand. After all, you're going to be using this thing for hours a day. Off the bat, it's clear that the iPhone 13 Pro is the more premium hardware. Stainless steel and textured matte glass trump the Pixel's aluminum frame and glossy glass by a mile. The Pixel is thinner. That makes it feel a little bit more fragile and easy to slip out of the hand, while the iPhone feels more like a brick. It's sturdy and very holdable. The Pixel's rounded edge screen leaves less room for your fingers to grip it, whereas the 13 Pro has nice, sharp edges. As far as reachability goes, the 13 Pro has good reachability for most people, while the Pixel will definitely require some careful shimmying or two-hand usage. Regardless, these phones are a similar size, while the Pixel Pro does take it just a step further. Now for what you'll be doing marginally less than holding the device and carrying it around is actually looking at it. So let's talk about displays. The Pixel's display is indisputably bigger and brighter. With more squared off edges, content better fits the frame. Overall, content consumption is simply more enjoyable on this device. They both have a variable refresh rate up to 120 Hz, meaning that the screen can refresh up to 120 times in a second, so they feel liquid smooth in many contexts. The Pixel has an always-on display for quickly viewing the time, weather, and notifications, while the new iPhone 14 Pro has an always-on display that is a bit controversial. The more affordable 13 Pro does not. Whether you're using either of these displays inside or outside, it definitely is a toss-up, but I have to hand the display to the Pixel 7 Pro here. Bigger is not always better, but brightness and contrast certainly wins on that device. Let's talk about the camera experience. Both of these phones feature a wide, ultra-wide, and zoom lens. The iPhone zooms in up to 6 times optical and 15 times digital, whereas the Pixel zooms in up to 5 times optical and a whopping 30 times digital. Now, anytime you zoom in past the optical limit, you're going to be getting some AI artifacts that try and intelligently smooth the image. At 15 times zoom, it's definitely a toss-up. Certain photos look more true to life than others, but I personally like the way that the Pixel handles their AI processing a bit better. They both feature a competent night mode and portrait mode as well. And Google threw in a few extras here with Google Lens, Motion, and Photosphere. Nice little bonuses to have. When it comes to shooting video, you're getting a little bit of a different story. I think it's safe to say that the iPhone is the clear winner when it comes to shooting video because its stabilization is slightly better and it handles HDR content much more proficiently than the Google phone. The iPhone's HDR post-processing is able to give you such powerful, bright shots while still preserving the contrast of darker subjects. Meanwhile, the Pixel 7 Pro brightens everything a bit too much, causing the picture to be a little bit washed out. Not only that, but both phones feature a cinematic mode, essentially meaning they're going to put an artificial blur around subjects while shooting video to give it a bokeh effect. Google's phone performed miserably in this test when side by side with the iPhone. Like, the bokeh was not even lined up with the subject it was shooting. For that reason alone, I have to give the slant to the iPhone here in the camera department. Both of them process pictures wonderfully, Google taking the upper edge when it comes to their AI processing for zoomed in photos, but when it comes to shooting video, the iPhone definitely has the upper hand. Both of these devices offer some really cool exclusive features that can either make or break the experience for you. First, let's cover Apple. What makes Apple products particularly alluring is the ecosystem. When you have a Mac computer or an iPad, you can easily transfer text, files, photos, and save data between devices. One of my favorite ways this works is copying a piece of text on your phone and then pasting it on my MacBook and vice versa. Plus, as a content creator, being able to shoot a quick clip on iPhone and then airdrop it right into the timeline is super convenient. If you're using the Pixel, you can still use the Apple ecosystem on the computer with the app Android File Transfer. However, it's not a very pleasant time. If you're all in on Google, you can always use Google Photos, Drive, Keep, Calendar, and so on from either device. Apple's encrypted messaging and calling features give iPhone users the notorious blue bubble. This is a massively polarizing issue in the US, but Google has been working hard to make the Android experience competitive and cross-platform so we can all enjoy a richer experience. I think you should ignore the stigma and just get what you want. MagSafe is something people either absolutely love and use religiously or might not have ever heard of it at all. Apple puts magnets on the iPhone 13 Pro that let you attach accessories like wallets and can make your docking experience more elegant with a magnetic car mount. Here's some of what the Pixel 7 Pro has to offer that you won't get on the Apple side. First off, Magic Eraser. If you've seen the cheesy ads, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
She's like, Jesse, background's crowded. I said, Julie, you let me worry about that, okay?
If not, well, it's actually a pretty cool feature. Using AI, the Pixel can remove unwanted background objects from your photos by simply drawing a circle around them. The Pixel 7 Pro also comes with some really useful calling features. Direct My Call uses predictive tech and user data to give you a button interface when you're on the phone with the customer support line. It's not revolutionary in function, but it's an added convenience to not have to remember what all 9 menu options were. Hold for Me, however, is a game changer. This tool completely eliminates the crappy music and annoying voices that play anytime you're put on hold. Once you're taken off hold, you'll get a notification that brings you back to the call. The Pixel's multitasking features are simply more robust. Select apps like Google Maps will open in a picture-in-picture mode so that you can keep the action going. In addition to that, there's also a built-in split screen feature which allows you to run 2 apps at the same time. Now to cover personal assistants. The iPhone has Siri and the Pixel 7 Pro has Google Assistant. Let's see how they handle the exact same queries. Alright, let's get started. Call me an Uber to Grand Central Station.
You'd like me to call you by the name an Uber to Grand Central Station?
No. No. Alright, let's make it more simple. What's the weather gonna be like?
Get that. Could you try again?
What's the weather gonna be like tomorrow?
Should be sunny tomorrow.
Cool. What's the best Italian food in the neighborhood?
Okay, here's what I found.
Wouldn't be my first choice. Play Sword Art Online on Netflix. Okay, interesting. So the iPhone was able to find Sword Art Online on Hulu because the show's not on Netflix anymore. And the Pixel is just, has no idea what to do. Show me the World Cup standings.
Here are the standings for the FIFA World Cup from the current season.
Number 1 ranked team right now is Ecuador.
Interesting. So I didn't get a lot of vocal feedback from the Pixel until I asked this query. And when I did, we're just getting Group A with the top team. I can click See More and go down. On the iPhone, it already presents me with every single group. It's really nicely presented on both devices, looks native to their operating system. But honestly, I prefer how the iPhone does it. It's pre-categorized, everything is organized really neatly. You can see coverage in the News app, whereas it's just a little bit more busy on the Pixel. Now, the cool thing with both of these devices having their own native silicon is that they do really good text processing. So let's see which one gets the grammar correct. Hey there, my name's Anthony, and today I'm recording a video about the iPhone 13 Pro compared to the Pixel 7 Pro. Both of these phones are under $1,000, so I'm hoping that the people watching are going to find this really useful and like and subscribe and share it with their friends and family. You know, maybe a little Thanksgiving gathering, they'll put the video on the big screen. Who knows? So yeah, the Pixel beats out the iPhone when it comes to correct grammar and putting punctuation in the proper places, along with the flow of my voice. If you have a budget of $1,000, you're not going to be disappointed in either phone that I showed you today. Even if you decide to pick up something different than what I showed, like the iPhone 14 or the Zenfone 9, you'll be getting a flagship phone with top-notch performance and hardware features. If Apple would cooperate just a bit, we'd see a much better cross-platform experience. But for now, you'll have to pick a side and coordinate with your friends and family to choose third-party apps that function across both types of devices. If you want to pick these devices up today, we got links to buy them from the US mobile shop, completely unlocked. Use it on any network you want. Check them out in the description below. And also, let me know in the comments what phone you're going to be using. Thanks so much for watching. This is Anthony with US Mobile. I'll see you next time. Peace.